Jimmy Thang from Maximum PC here at Logitech's headquarters in Switzerland. I'm here speaking with Chris Pate, product manager, is that right?
Yep.
And Chris, we've had the chance to walk around your labs today and check out some of your facilities and your testing methodology. And it seems like Logitech, I mean, your logo was it Science Wins?
Yeah, that's our tagline, yeah.
Okay, cool. And just to our left here, we've seen this Hyperion Fury mouse, in which you guys use both an optical sensor and a gyroscope. Is that correct?
It's got an optical sensor, plus it's got a separate accelerometer and gyro, so an inertial sensor, so that if the optical sensor fails due to the product moving too fast, the inertial sensor takes over and provides data to the system, so that you're always getting good tracking. So we haven't been able to break this thing by making it move too fast.
Right. I think, and we turn to the left, and we get to see sort of some data from that. And earlier, when we saw this thing operating, the guy operating it had it swinging, wildly to the left and to the right. And what you see is like where the line is blue, that is where the optical is in control. And I guess beyond the point, it gets too fast and it switches to the gyro. Is that correct?
Right. The red line represents the gyro, which is constantly monitoring, or the accelerometer and gyro are constantly monitoring the movement of the mouse. And like I said, if the optical sensor fails, which you see with the blue lines going crazy, the accelerometer gyro provide data. The handover happens within less than a millisecond because we're monitoring in real time, so there's no delay in between the optical sensor working and the accelerometer gyro providing data. And then when it hands it back, when the optical sensor starts working again, it's again seamless and invisible to the user.
Okay. And is this and to your knowledge, no other competitor is using this combination of gyro and optical?
Correct. We invented this technology. We've been working on it for a number of years. This particular version of the technology has been under development for over 2 years, and we've been looking at how to do it for many years before that. So we're the inventors of the technology.
Okay. How long have you guys been working on this?
I can't say a specific number of years. Probably 5, 6.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, this specific generation, this specific implementation has been 2 years in development.
Okay. And the Hyperion Fury is the newest?
Hyperion Fury is not the newest mouse we've released. The newest mouse we released is the G302 Dataless Prime.
Okay.
But the Hyperion Fury was launched in kind of late July.
Okay. But this is the only current mouse that actually uses the combination of those technologies?
Correct.
Is there a reason why it wasn't used in the 302?
So G302 Dataless Prime was designed around the needs of MOBA gamers, and they didn't really have the same kind of need to move the mouse very fast like you do in a low-sense first-person shooter like a Counter-Strike or something like that. They're more focused on the lightweight, the small shape, and the incredibly good click feeling. Okay.
I believe on that mouse you guys have worked designing a new clicking action that is actually more responsive or faster.
What we have is we've separated the left and right keys from the body of the mouse, so they're not monolithic like other older mouse designs are. And in addition, we've added a new metal spring tensioning system which pulls the key plate down against the micro switch to ensure that there's no travel between there's no travel between the micro switch and the key. The key is always resting on the micro switch, so you don't have any kind of vibration that happens, any travel that happens before you start actuating the switch.
So it minimizes the travel time.
In some respects, yes. It also makes sure that the click experience is consistent and controlled and feels very good.
Okay. Having it spring-loaded, does that add any tension at all?
No, it actually doesn't make it easier or harder to click. What it does is it improves the down-click experience, plus it makes sure that it returns to its resting state more consistently.
Okay. And can you talk about your sensor choices? You guys are going with primarily optical these days, I believe. Are you guys still using laser?
So we have some products that still use laser sensors, but our newer products, as we bring new ones out, are transitioning over to LED-based or optical sensors.
Okay. And what is, in your findings, what is the reason why you guys are moving away from laser?
So 5-6 years ago, we were using a lot of laser-based sensors because the ability of the laser sensors to track on a multitude of surfaces was much better than the optical sensors at the time. But there were some concessions that we had to make in terms of accuracy and mostly acceleration is what
the issue maybe.
The characteristic is called acceleration commonly, but really it's about how accurate the sensor is at different physical speeds. Okay. So the laser-based sensors are very good at tracking multiple surfaces. They're very good at tracking precisely, but particularly low sense gamers have difficulty with some of the laser-based sensors because they don't allow for the same degree of muscle memory control that the optical sensors do.
Okay, so that sounds like an issue with the mouse acceleration. Is that?
Yeah. So basically, if you move your mouse 10 centimeters to the right at one speed, and then you move back the same 10 centimeters at a different speed, you don't necessarily end up at the same place on the screen. So that's very bad from a consistency and accuracy standpoint, because you can't use muscle memory to know that I have to turn this far and I'll just move my hand this far and I'll hit the target every time.
So is optical more one-to-one in that sense then?
Correct.
Okay. And also, there's a bad stigma against wireless mice. I guess the stigma is that it adds latency. According to your internal testing, you're actually saying that's not the case, and that in some cases you've gotten the latency down so good that it's actually faster than a wired mouse somehow?
So we have wireless gaming mice that have, between the electronics inside the processing capabilities, the sensor choice that we make, and the radio frequency, the RF technology development that we do, we have faster response times from moving the device physically to on screen than some wired mice.
Gotcha. And I guess even some pro players are using the G602, your wireless mouse.
So currently, yeah, Eternal Envy and Meteos from Cloud9, Dota, and League of Legends respectively are using the G602 in competition.
Okay. And I guess the main issue, the real issue with wireless mice is the battery life.
So we found that people are concerned about a multitude of different things. There's fear, uncertainty, and doubt about latency, about interference, and about battery life. But really what it comes down to is being secure that the product can work. And with the latency and interference, we do a lot of work to overcome that, and we really don't actually see that in practice. We can theoretically make stuff fail, but in actual practice, people aren't going to experience that. So then the issue becomes battery life. And we worked really hard with sensor design and electrical design on the G602 to take a mouse that in previous generations had 9, 10, 11 hours of battery life with gaming performance, and brought it all the way up to 250. And by 250, I don't mean you put in batteries and 250 hours later you have to put in more batteries. It means you put it on a turntable and spin it around for 250 straight hours with the optical sensor going at maximum, and then it dies. So in practice, you get, when I use it, I get 2 to 3 months out of a set of batteries.
So how do you, what separates your wireless mouse from others that allows you to get that battery time?
So we have a lot of, we do a lot of work with wireless just in general, in optimization of battery life, optimization of power consumption in general. We worked to develop a specific sensor that delivers gaming performance without sucking the battery away like previous generations did. And that sensor is one that currently we're the only ones with access to. And there's a lot of other stuff that we do inside the mouse design to ensure that we're delivering good performance, the type of performance that gamers need, but we're not doing so inefficiently.
Gotcha. Just touching upon the latency issue, somebody else at Logitech told me that you guys did this really interesting experiment. I don't know if you can confirm, but it was a latency experiment in which you guys had some gamers try out a wireless mouse, and I guess asked them, like, do you feel any latency? And then they were saying, like, yes, and then you plug in a fake USB cable that actually isn't hooked up to anything, and then you ask them the same question, and then they say, "Oh yes, this feels much more responsive." So it seems like somewhat of a placebo effect. Are you aware of that test? And can you?
There is a bit of confirmation bias that goes on. I didn't participate in that specific test, so I don't know what the results of that are. But it doesn't surprise me that's the case. I mean, you know, a lot of the when I look at a lot of the reason that people are concerned about whether or not wireless is good for performance is because other people have told them that wireless is not good for performance. And when people actually take the time to test out how it works, it ends up really, in a lot of cases, surprising people that wireless performs as well or better than a standard mouse. And then you get the benefit of not having to drag a cord around the tail, which is great.
Gotcha. Which in some ways helps with the experience of the quickness. You don't have to deal with the drag of that.
Absolutely. I mean, so you'll see a lot of people either buying special equipment or creating elaborate rigs to get the cable out of their way. Really, I mean, the desire for a wireless mouse for gaming is there. And if you think about it, most people are gaming with wireless mouse already because, you know, the vast majority of mice sold in the world are wireless. And most people are playing, you know, if you're looking at console games, everybody's playing with a wireless controller. So wireless for gaming is actually not a problem, but there's an ingrained concern that people are slowly realizing is not necessarily true.
Gotcha. And you guys actually use a USB dongle to get your wireless fix as opposed to Bluetooth. Is that because I believe you guys were saying that it has something to do with the record time or something like that? The response, not quite the response time, but the...
So Bluetooth is a very interesting technology because it's pretty ubiquitous and it's become a lot easier to pair devices from one host or another.
Sure.
But with Bluetooth, the only thing that the manufacturer has control over is the chip that they use inside the device. Typically, a Bluetooth mouse will want to record at 8 milliseconds, which is, as most gamers know, pretty slow. And you can, despite the fact that you can request a faster report rate, the host doesn't have to give it to you. So if you don't have a good chip inside your PC,
or a Bluetooth chip,
or you've got a lot of other devices on the PicoNet, the Bluetooth PicoNet, and it has to serve them, you just can't guarantee a good quality of experience with Bluetooth the way that you can by creating a dedicated device. Plus, we have tuned our RF technology over the years to deliver incredibly good responsiveness and, you know, channel hopping, error correction, getting away from interference, stuff like that, to ensure that you're always getting the best experience possible.
Gotcha. And I believe on your wireless, your G602, you're reporting a 2 millisecond response time.
Yeah, so the G602 reports at 2 milliseconds, and you know that's part of the reason that it does that is because most gamers can't tell the difference between 2 and 1 milliseconds, and you get significantly better battery life that way. With the G700S, you can go to 1 millisecond, and again, the ability to perceive the difference between a wired and wireless mode is not present for most people.
Where does it become distinguishable for most people in terms of the millisecond?
So it's hard to generalize, but very sensitive people can detect a latency in the cursor movement between what they're physically doing and what the cursor's doing of somewhere between 4 and 7 milliseconds.
Okay.
And it's not that they say that it is, oh, I can see the movement. They'll just say, oh, this feels floaty or something like that. It doesn't feel like it's doing exactly what they want. Some people can't perceive a 40 millisecond difference, but really sensitive people are able to perceive, you know, around 4 to 7.
Okay. You guys also do a lot of stuff with the speed of your sensor, I guess, right? How fast it tracks on a trackpad. To a point where, I mean, just looking at some of these demos, to a point where it gets absurd. Like where you were saying earlier that even if you wanted to try to move your hand as fast as you could not get anywhere near what these machines can do. Can you sort of touch upon that?
Sure. So the machine we're looking at right here can test it up to. It can test over 500 inches per second. We validated the mouse works at incredibly high speeds, Personally, I have never been able to move a mouse faster than 450 inches per second, and that's with a 3-foot wide mouse pad and putting my entire body into it. It's really hard to move a mouse that fast. So it's not about creating products to reach specific goals that people need to be met. It's about providing more capability that you can actually use, so that the hardware is not a limiting factor in how good you are at a game.
Cool. And just I guess one last question on the issue of durability. It seems like at least on the keyboard side, you guys do a lot of testing to make sure that it lasts up to like some 2 million clicks or something like that.
70, but yes.
70?
70 million.
70 million, okay. And then do you guys run similar tests on these mice as well?
Absolutely. We do. We test the primary buttons on all of our gaming mice to 20 million clicks, because those are the buttons that people use the most. And just like with the keyboard, it goes to 20 million and it stops. It goes to 20 million and it still feels good. It's within a tolerance range for the click profile feeling, and you can still play with it. You can still get a good gaming experience out of it.
Okay. And what about travel time? Do you guys have like a distance on that?
So that's basically, that's a little bit harder to calculate, because you not only have to understand the properties of the PTFE feet, but you also have to model the properties of the surface that you're moving on, because that's what's causing the abrasion, right? So we measure it on a standard wood veneer desktop, about 250 kilometers for the feet before they wear off. You're going to get more abrasion out of a hard surface or a glass surface, like a frosted glass surface. You get less abrasion out of some other surfaces, but that's about where they are.
Gotcha. I mean, there's just so much to talk about. We didn't even delve into the different types of surfaces, but I think that's plenty of information. So,
Okay.
so thanks, Chris.
Sure thing.